Welcome everybody to episode 2. We did have a name. What was that name?
Comic Conversations.
And unfortunately, we found out that somebody already has that channel on YouTube. So we're gonna have to figure out another name. I'm not too sure. Feel free to write some comments below for a name that we can have for this show. In the meantime, the show will be named Blank.
I guess.
So I can see you're wearing this awesome outfit today. What made you want to jump into the Batgirl cosplay?
Well, I decided to throw this cosplay on because, first of all, I love Batgirl. I've always loved her character, and I have a one-shot comic that I'm going to talk about today because I don't know if a lot of people really know about it, and I think it's really awesome, so
Yeah.
hence the cosplay.
Yeah, I will say I did not know about it myself, but we will get to it. That is with Gail Simone. The other comic books we will be talking about will be the new Gambit by Chris Claremont, which we were fortunate enough to talk to him, and he talked to us a bit about it.
Yep.
And then after that, we're also going to look at a 1990s miniseries of Gambit, which I did notice that it did become a cartoon episode. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The X-Men animated series.
So with that, let's run the credits. All right, to start things off, we're going to talk about Gambit, the latest series by Chris Claremont. And I think we should talk about some things that Chris Claremont did talk about when we met him about Gambit. Do you remember anything in particular?
So he was actually saying that Gambit was going to be a completely different character to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
but he was changed originally. I don't remember everything that he was saying, but I do remember him going into very, very strong detail about how he wanted Gambit to be a different character than he actually was.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was saying how he wants to bring a different take on his character.
Yeah, well, what he was saying basically, what I remember was that he had built Gambit to be very specific into knowing how to beat Wolverine. So he was supposed to be like an assassin that was supposed to be brought into the X-Men, everyone thinking that he was a good guy, like the Gambit that we all know. But in secret, he was there to finish a mission, and it was impossible for Wolverine to ever be able to defeat Gambit due to the fact that Gambit was specifically trained to always outclass Wolverine. But in the end, Chris Claremont said that he became a sexy son of a gun, a ladies' man.
Oh yeah.
Sex symbol, that's the word I'm looking for.
Especially recently with the Hellfire Gala take on his character. But I think that's something that everybody likes about Gambit though.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a smooth talker, and he's very, he's like a devil may care type character where he just does whatever he wants and nobody's gonna stand in his way.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I can't really think of too many characters in the Marvel universe that is like a sex symbol of a man. Sure, they're all like, perfect bodies and everything, but none of them puts that aura of like, I'm gonna get you, lady. And I guess that's what Gambit does, and I can't really think of anybody else, can you?
Not really. I mean, Gambit definitely is one of the smoother ones. Sometimes, we have characters that we see do that occasionally, but not as much or as often as Gambit.
Yeah, and on that note, let's talk about the actual comic book, Chris Claremont's newest Gambit. I did notice something jumping in that we did see Storm, but she was a child, which I was not familiar with because I missed every issue that was prior to her being shrunk down.
Yeah, she was basically she became a child again, and she lost her memories and some of her powers. So she's struggling with that, and Gambit's kind of like taking care of her while this is all going on. So I wasn't expecting to see that such a young version of Aurora, of Storm. We're used to seeing her like so regal and like strong.
Yeah, strong character.
Older and one of the OG like X-Men. But it's interesting. It was interesting. It was different.
Right. And I'll say in this comic, Gambit is basically, he's like reteaching Storm how to be a strong person again, and he keeps giving her like these little life lessons, if you will, and simple things like, here, you have to try to break into this house, and she goes through a chimney. She does everything she can to just get into this house. And the whole time Gambit had a key to get right through the front door. And she's like, why did you do that? I was like, because you're training, you're learning. I got to see what you can do.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting take. And I guess it's, even Chris Claremont said that this is a different kind of style of writing for him, where he's trying to make it more lighthearted. Yeah, more lighthearted, more fun, as opposed to some of his darker creations, or more, I don't know, different takes of all the characters.
Yeah. So, how do you think it compares to the other Gambit series?
Completely different, which I think we're going to jump into right now. This one, which is really funny because we ran into this at the comic book store, and basically we found it on the display. This Gambit number 1 was like $30. Then I found it again for $15 when you're looking for in the series in the box crate. And then we found a $2 crate. This is all in the same store. And there was a $2 crate, and that had this copy of Gambit. So I guess it is a little beat up, but I was like, we can either pay $2 for it, $15, or $30. So we went for the cheap one.
We just wanted to read it, so.
Yeah, yes. And I think it was actually a cool read.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. Again, when we were talking about how eventually they kind of worked it into the X-Men animated series, the storyline. It's cool because you get to see Gambit's backstory of his life before he was an X-Men, before he was like the Gambit that we all know. And, he definitely is a lot different in that comic book than the one that we read that Chris Claremont wrote recently. But not necessarily in a bad way. He's just a different kind of character.
Well, there's different incidences between the two. Like, there's nothing that's going against Gambit in the Claremont one that we just read. But in this one, it starts off where his brother gets killed.
All these issues,
His brother
got all this
literally
family
gets killed.
drama, and he's got to go back to settle it and figure it all out. So,
right.
Very different stories. How would you rate both of them, or compare it, or compare?
They're both very different. I'll have to say this is more my kind of style of storyline, but I'm also familiar with it because we saw it on the animated series. Mm-hmm. So I'm already like kind of knowing where it's going. There were some subtle changes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we didn't read comics issues 2, 3, or 4 to see the whole finale. But if it sticks with the animated series, we know how it does end, where Gambit will get to meet his ex-wife.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't even know. I don't think they did marry, but
they were kind of like more or less engaged.
Right.
Yeah, and not only Gambit, but also Rogue, which she's not very happy about.
Yeah. So Rogue is like at the end of this issue, she's like, I'm going where he's going, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
And Gambit keeps on saying, he's like, oh no, this is a family thing. You guys.
He doesn't even want Wolverine to come, and Wolverine's always about like jumping in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So he even doesn't let Wolverine come. He's like, no,
I
gotta handle this on my own.
Yeah.
But Rogue just won't hear it. At the end, she's like, well, I'm going anyway.
Yeah, but I like that Wolverine. I think he gives him like 2 chances. He's like, Gambit, I can come with you to help you out with your issue.
Yeah.
And both times Gambit declines, and Wolverine respectively says, I understand.
Yeah, because I think Remy's that type of a character where he wants to fight his own battles. He doesn't want to get the X-Men involved. He doesn't want to get, all these extra people involved. And I think Wolverine's kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. So he understands. Yeah. So
it's a really good read. I do recommend this one a lot. It's just fun. And I definitely want to buy the 2, 3, and 4 to really complete the
If you
series.
like Gambit, definitely check it out. It's a great comic.
All right. So you brought a comic out, and I think you definitely wanted to go for this one so you could bring out your Batgirl outfit.
Yes.
So tell us about this one shot.
So this is a one shot from the World's End series. It's a new 52 DC comic, and the interesting thing about this is Gail Simone wrote it right before the whole Batgirl of Burnside series came out, and it was her last thing that she did before that kind of like ended her era.
Yeah.
And I love it because we get to see a very different take on Batgirl. So it begins with something very traumatic happening to her, to Barbara Gordon. Big surprise, something traumatic happens to Barbara Gordon. And she basically gives up being Batgirl again. And she then becomes a very strong character, which is trained by Bane, of all people. And so she's sort of a half Bat, half Bane hybrid of a character. And she is such a badass that you see her and she's like, the only thing I can compare it to is like she's training but with Bane, and she kind of like, it's kind of like when Ben Affleck is training to be Batman in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
And he just gets super swole. That's what she does. She gets like super swole.
Yeah, she gets jacked.
It's crazy. And she's so strong. Not only that, but she herself is training 3 other Batgirls. So she is basically training them to be the best Batgirls that they can be. And they look up to her, and she definitely sees a lot in them. So as all these things go on, she ends up basically not retiring as Batgirl, because she says that Batgirl is always going to be part of her. So she'll never be the same character, but she's always going to be herself.
Yeah.
And that's always Barbara, and that's always Batgirl.
Yeah. Well, I'll say things that did stand out from this issue was that, you know, you had Batgirl training with Bane, right? And Bane's supposed to not know who she is, but he secretly already knows who she is.
Yeah.
But Bane falls in love with her as like a child, like his daughter.
Yep.
And she just says, "Peace out." She disappears, and she does her own thing. And Bane goes after her, you know, trying to get her back, and he wants to like rule the world with her.
Yeah. But she completely rebrands herself, if you will, to, she's known as the Black Beast, Bete Noir. So she's like such a badass. She even kind of looks like Bane.
Mm-hmm. Her outfit.
But then at the end of the comic, spoiler alert, we find out that she never took the serum that he offered her.
Yeah.
It was all 100% Barbara. Like she just got that big.
And that's awesome. That's Gail Simone. Like she's just a very smart writer, and she likes to surprise you. I think she's the best Batgirl writer I've ever
I agree.
read.
I love her.
And the way she did it was basically, she was like, you have the fight of Bane versus Batgirl. And as they're fighting, Batgirl just starts kicking Bane's ass. And the end results, Bane's just like, "Oh yeah, man, I taught you well." And that was where, what you said, she just basically said.
She's like, "This is all me."
She's like, "By the way, I never took the serum."
So
he's like, "Impossible."
It was all her.
And she's like, "I built this Amazon body."
She became.
I became a goddess. That's what she says.
That's what she says, and it's like, whoa. Which I freaking love it. I think it's amazing. So yeah, it's a one shot, but I feel like when you're writing a one shot, you have to come up with a very unique and creative story, and that is exactly what Gail Simone did, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I recommend it to a lot of people. I recommended it to you, and
I'm
glad you enjoyed it.
That was awesome. I've read some other one shots that were kind of not that good, but this one was a jammer, if you must.
Totally.
I'm gonna say, let's go outside of the comic book, actual books, and let's go to what happened in Hollywood, where Batgirl got canceled. So the worst part is that out of all the Batgirl stories to tell, they should have told a Gail Simone one, I would say.
Those are very cinematic stories. Like I could see them, even if it was just a portion of what they did in the comics. Yeah, and
instead I think they went for the comic book afterwards, which was more for, I guess, teenagers.
Yeah, but did you read the reasoning behind them shutting down the whole thing entirely, like indefinitely, was because they wanted it to be more of a big release, and they couldn't make it that.
Yeah, I guess they were just, I don't know. I'm hearing different theories.
Yeah.
Some theories are that the storyline that they were having there. They have Michael Keaton comes back as Batman.
Totally.
And they had like all these things that were supposed to, key on to other movies, the whole universe. But if they get rid of this specific movie, then they don't have to continue all those storylines. So I guess they want to go to either they do want to go to another direction, or the movie just sucked really hard and they don't believe in it. There's all these theories, and we're never gonna know.
I hate to say it, but I'm like relieved because the costume. They always go back to that Burnside costume, and I'm sorry if you enjoy it, that's fine. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan either, because I went from Gail Simone. I read the whole series, and then I went after that.
I love the New 52 look for Batgirl.
Yeah.
To me, that is Batgirl.
Yeah, but reading that and then jumping onto the Burnside one, it's such a
so different.
Flip, and not in a good way.
I agree. I was like, no. But yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll eventually see Barbara Batgirl again in cinema. Maybe just like a cameo of some kind. I don't know. We had the thing that they did with the animated movie for The Killing Joke, but that was just kind of 15 minutes before the movie of Batgirl, which was cool. But I just hope that one day there will be justice for Batgirl.
And on that note, I think what we should do is definitely see your Batgirl at MegaCon that we did about 2 months ago or so.
Yeah, so here's me as Batgirl running around.
Yeah, so to end things, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, all that jazz. And here is ElecTrish as Batgirl at MegaCon.